They've been bringing in equipment. We've been working closely. They have a contingency line that their dozers, working with our personnel, punched in along the Highway 4, just north of the highway, moving north from Highway 4 through to protect some of their land. And if we have to hold it at their land, otherwise it's going into the forest. So that's a contingency line. I'm very confident, I'm hopeful that we will be able to never even get to that contingency line. That's why it's contingency. It's there as the secondary. I want to stick with the primary. Understand, though, between that area and where the fire is currently burning and uses a fuel break, we are going into some rugged, deep territory with these dozers, with the hand crews, with the fire engines, and punching new line, historic line that's never been utilized before. As we move to the next slide, there's some phone numbers here. If anybody has questions, please, I just ask that unless somebody is truly affected by this fire, we're fielding thousands of phone calls a day in Amador, in Calaveras, in the sheriff's office. There's a lot of constituents that are very concerned about their property, about their pets, about their neighbors, about their families. So you really have to call. I ask that you hold off for the time being, and as we try to catch up and make sure that we get information out to those that need it. I also ask for anybody that believes in prayer, now's the time. They need all the help that we can muster and provide for them.
Stream.
This is historic fire that they will be dealing with for years. We have an opportunity with the Rimfire and the National Disaster Resiliency Competition. We are going to be paying attention in Calaveras what Tuolumne County does to make themselves more resilient, to make us resilient in Tuolumne. It has to be duplicated to the north, replicated and scalable. That's the same thing we're going to be looking at. How can we prevent this kind of tragedy in the future? Fuel modifications, fuel breaks. We have got to get the word out that when the sheriff's office calls for an evacuation, people need to evacuate. It is such a hindrance to law enforcement and fire suppression resources when somebody wants to debate the issue when the fire front is running at their house. Law enforcement can't, it's not the time for that debate. They're holding them up from going on to the next neighbor and the next neighbor and the next neighbor. Get out. Successes, but we have to learn from the tragedies. The defensible space around structures, it's not 100%. We recognize that. Somebody could have exactly what is required of the Public Resources Code 4291 and have that perfect clearance around their structure, and it could still end up being destroyed. But the likelihood and the percentage and probability of success is greatly increased with defensible space, as well as trying to capitalize on the fuel breaks with our partners in the fire safe councils, everything that we can do to get dollars into the federal pipeline. So in the background is one of our employees that was on the background. I mean, no disrespect to Old Glory, but one of our personnel from our TCU family lost their home. So to that, I'll ask for any questions and provide any information that I can.
Questions, comments? Expectation on full containment, just so people have a feel. It's days, weeks. I mean, Rimfire took 70 days. This is a big fire.
This is a big fire, yes, sir. It is very difficult for us to be able to.
The point is they can't relax. Even though I hear evacuations are allowing people to go back, we can't relax. And the fire season is technically pretty young yet with the dry conditions.
That's Correct. There is no time for complacency right now. Whether on this, Tuolumne and Calaveras have been fantastic preventing fires, and those fires that we have had in this unit, we've hit hard with the initial attack, and I'm really proud of our initial attack resources. But we have to be ever cognizant that we're stripped thin right now. We have a number of different fires. We've pushed everything we possibly can locally onto this fire, but understand that we still are staffing our local stations because we have to be worried about the next fire.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Yeah, just to the Fire Safe Council work that they've done. So just to reemphasize the need to get as much funding out of wherever we can for those kinds of efforts. That's what makes you resilient.
I agree. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Pedro.
Just a comment. To see the firsthand work that's been done over there, it has been outstanding. Has responded besides from obviously our fire personnel. The sheriff's office has had a half dozen or more officers over there from day one, and that continues. We've had our locally our air pollution control district with Mr. Stockel, Sandman, working with Dr. Ortiz, who's done a great job in working with county schools to get word out, what's going on and how to advise people as far as air quality. We've had our animal control folks, our animal control department helping Calaveras County, as well as any number of individuals and nonprofit organizations, particularly with the animal issues, which are huge. We're talking hundreds of livestock of all different array, and dogs and cats and things that are important to people. And Tuolumne County characteristically has responded. I can't believe there's been consultation with the roads department, even how to document and recover from some of these things. We've also been providing some consultative services to Amador County, as well. And I'm going to keep the name out of it, but just to talk about human loss, Josh appropriately mentions someone losing their home from the CAL FIRE employees. We had one of the Red Cross folks that we depend upon the most. I'm going to keep the name out right now, but she had just enough notice to go get her own personal animals, and as she left, her house burned. And yet she went back to work, and she continues to this day, helping people with evacuations and shelters. So when you hear these calls for help, financial assistance, to people, this is the biggest fire that I've seen, the most destructive fire in terms of homes and whatnot that I've seen in this region in my time. And we need, as a community, as we always do, to rise to the occasion and help these people.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Good morning. Barry Rudolph, CAL FIRE Battalion Chief here in the Twinehart Battalion, which I'm responsible for the north half of Tuolumne County. I'm here this morning to give you a brief update on the Oak incident, which Supervisor Rutherford referred to in his remarks, I think. Just a quick summation here. The fire started on September 8th at about 1:30 in the afternoon. The total acreage burned on the fire came to 108. Our rapid damage assessment team looked through the damage and destruction to the non-wildland vegetation fuels, and one residence was destroyed, 2 outbuildings destroyed, 3 buildings were damaged, 1 logging skidder was destroyed, 1 wood processor destroyed, 3 vehicles, and 1 synthetic water tank. The cost to fight the fire to date is $634,000 for the week. I'd really like to give a shout out to the cooperating agencies that helped us, and that include the U.S. Forest Service, the Tuolumne County Fire Department, which we're partners with for 40 years, Twin Heart Community Services District, California Highway Patrol,